this episode of That Kingsville podcast, we speak to Heather Parise about the Adventure Challenge happening at Lakeside Park in September. If you did the Heartbreaker, or know about the Heartbreaker that was up in Windsor, it's coming to Kingsville in the new envisioned event. So we speak to her about that.
Word is more exciting, less heartbreaking.
Less heartbreaking, less mud, she says as well.
Yeah.
However,
It's got a nice logo.
it does have a nice logo. And then special guests Kelley, Kovacs, and Erika Se4 join us to talk powerlifting. That was my most masculine.
That was great.
It was good. It was good.
And we've got two strong women coming on. We got to take that way.
All that and more on this episode of That Kingsville Podcast. That Kingsville Podcast proudly brought to you by Kingsville Brewery. Again, hot now, summertime, delicious cold beer relieves all of that.
I had like 7 light A's before the show.
You drove here? Allegedly?
Allegedly. I'd call it more crawls.
7 sips.
Very thirsty.
Very thirsty. As always, their entire beer line available at kingsvillebrewery.com. Free delivery in Windsor and Essex County. I can't wait to crack into an ice-cold cerveza by the pool on the weekend because it's going to be blistering hot. Thanks, Phil.
I feel like the heat's gotten to
It is. Oh my god.
That was rough.
Has it not? It is.
Was that like hot guy
It
sound?
was like hot. I'm just
Ooh,
delirious.
Spicy.
Thanks, Kingsville Brewery, for supporting That Kingsville Podcast. Welcome to That Kingsville Podcast. I'm Dave. That's Kevin. That's Steve.
Hello.
Sup?
Yo, guys, it's the heat of summer. It's the first day of summer, coincidentally. And, it's 9,000 degrees, and it has been all. We were in a heat dome.
Yep.
Yeah, this is not an evergreen topic, but we are in a heat dome. It's like the microwave just set on, forever.
It's so hot out.
And, much like my read that I just did for Kingsville Brewery, I think everybody's, feeling the effects of,
It's been a fun week.
I was just going to say, how was it lugging a big bag of mail around, Steve?
It's been fun.
Yeah.
I'm practically evaporating.
you got like an IV drip of electrolytes on nonstop.
Yeah. Wednesday was, tough sledding.
How much weight do you lose? Have you checked to see?
I haven't because I'm not doing full routes. So it would be kind of like a semi gauge, if you will.
Okay.
Compared to maybe, but it's all relative to what you're putting in too, right? So, what was that?
No comment.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know.
It's hot out.
Yes.
It is.
That's what we're
It
boiling
is
down.
hot.
Lot of sweating,
Yeah,
a lot of drinking,
lot of
water,
hydration
Gatorade,
intake.
yes.
I get those little hydration packets that, you put into the water. And
Yep.
if you get tired of that, you just suck back a couple of those suckers and you feel like $1 million. So.
Well, I mean, working in Essex, I drive by the construction on Highway 3 every day, and you see the same people out, whether it's the people with the with the signs that I worry about more than I would myself, because I'm out there we're limited right now to how much time we can spend on the street, but they're out there long days. I know they're going to get breaks, but
still,
it's a long time in the blazing sun.
It's a slog.
Stand on top of a road.
It is a slog. But, this weekend, coincidentally, is the Highland Games that's happening. So there's going to be a lot more people. Hopefully the weather does we get some relief. But according to the forecast, we should have a little bit of a relief come Saturday, but
a little bit, and then into next week, it's looking more seasonal, more comfortable.
Right, yeah. Which, hey, you know what? I'm not going to complain necessarily because it's not 10 feet of snow,
right?
But still, it doesn't make it any easier when it comes to jobs or activities or organizations that work outside. So
it's like, do you want to feel like a popsicle or like a chicken that's in the oven? like walk outside like, I feel like it's probably like someone set the oven to about 250. Just a nice slow roast.
You come out smelling like cooked chicken too, depending on your.
I thought it was weird when someone handed me a thing of like peeled carrots. Like, can you just hold these for a while?
Oy vey.
Hot.
So hot. No, so many things happening, but
yeah. It's minor soccer day at Champs too.
This weekend. Really this weekend already?
God, those poor kids.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Again, precautions are in place.
Yeah.
Regular water breaks,
popsicles.
Sometimes short games.
Yeah, the OPP usually come pop the trunk and give out the freezies.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. You got to be part of the community, right? So, yeah.
Other people's popsicles.
Yeah, lots happening.
OPP.
Joining us on that Kingsville podcast tonight, we have Heather Parise talking the Adventure Challenge. Welcome to the show, Heather.
Thanks so much for having me.
So, yeah, the Adventure Challenge, an event being held this fall in Kingsville at Lakeside Park. A fundraiser for Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare Foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about what this event is and maybe how people can get involved?
Yes, absolutely. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Heartbreaker Challenge at all.
Oh, I'm an alumni. I did it a couple of years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The Heartbreaker was an awesome event. It ran for 10 years. It was incredibly popular in the community, and it was a great success, largely in part because of the help of the Petro family that helped put it on. And that event was a event that supported Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare. And after 10 years, the event had kind of run its course, but it was so wildly popular. There was a huge void felt after it, and people were wanting something similar. It was so unique. So we put our heads together at the foundation, and we thought, what can we do to help fill this void? So we've come up with the Adventure Challenge. So it's very similar to Heartbreaker in the sense that it's a 5-kilometer run, jog, walk mixed up with physical and mental challenges.
Yeah, with one exception, it's not running up Malden Park Hill.
Yeah.
Right.
that is a killer.
Right. We got Lakeside Park Hills, though. We got a miniature version.
Yeah, we like to think that the event is for everybody, regardless of your physical ability. You don't have to be like an Ironman or a marathon competitor to be able to do it. I know I did Heartbreaker myself the first year, and I am by no means any of those things. And that hill did get me, but it's just fun. It's not timed. It's a teamwork, to work on your teamwork with your group of 4, and it's just a lot of laughs along the way.
Can you give us an idea of the challenges, or are you guys keeping them kind of under wraps?
So we're working with a company out of Muskoka area called Wildlife Academy, and they offer a variety of different unique, engaging and energizing adventures. Like I said, they're going to be a mix of both physical and mental, like puzzles. A lot of them, it will kind of depend on, because they're coming in from out of town, they vary depending on what they're able to fit on the truck that day with how many. And they come in and set them up in the park. So even we don't know exactly what's going to be there, but they do have a website, so you can take a look and get an idea.
For 5K, so obviously it's at Lakeside Park. Is it like laps of Lakeside Park? Or are you hitting the streets?
No, it's all contained within the park. So there's going to be the event is kind of almost like a figure 8, where the obstacles are in the middle. And then we're going to utilize the trails throughout the park, going down by the water and back up. And then once you do a loop, you'll come back, do an obstacle, and then you'll go around and do another running leg, up a hill and go back to the obstacles. It is definitely a different setup than what we had at Malden Park with Heartbreaker. But we really wanted to differentiate the two events, because unlike Heartbreaker, where you were muddy and wet when you finished, this event, you're going to be a lot cleaner when you finish. So although there's obstacles, there's no mud and water. So we're really hoping that people who come out to Kingsville to take part stick around since they're clean, and get to enjoy some of the great local businesses that are out in town, and just enjoy themselves. People that are a little dirt adverse.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time. So the event is a fundraiser for the Healthcare Foundation. Well, what are some of the objectives that we're trying to raise money for, by using these events?
So all the money raised at the Adventure Challenge is going to support the Outpatient Rehabilitation Center at Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare. So even though Hotel Dieu Grace is physically located on Prince Road in West Windsor, it's a specialty hospital for the whole region, and a lot of patients come from across Essex County. So for the outpatient rehab center specifically, there's over 15,000 patient visits annually, 4,000 of which are residents in the county that go there. So we're excited to be able to bring an event out this way and attract new people who maybe travel to Windsor every day for work, and come the weekend they don't want to go back for an event, or vice versa, get those Windsor people out to see the great town of Kingsville.
What was the appeal to having it in Kingsville? Was it Lakeside Park initially because of the venue and the terrain, if you will? Or was it the businesses? You thought, okay, this is perfect to entice people? Or was it a bit of both?
It was kind of a mix of everything. One, like I said earlier, we wanted to differentiate the event from Heartbreaker because we didn't want people showing up to Malden Park and expecting the mud pits and the water slide that were crowd favorites at that event. So we wanted to make it a little different. We also wanted, because the way the event's set up with the figure 8 type pattern, we wanted a place that would naturally make it enjoyable and exciting, even though the loops are smaller. And the natural terrain at Lakeside Park along the water and the hills and stuff, it creates a nice opportunity for that. And then all the local businesses is just a bonus, I think. I mean, I'm a local resident myself, so I might be a little biased there, but
we're okay with bias.
You can beat it.
The and for those who don't know, the outpatient rehab, what is that program? What does it do?
Yeah, so for outpatient rehab, they see a variety of different people. So it's not typically, for instance, if you've had like a hip or a knee replacement, it was identified that rehabilitation for care for that could be provided elsewhere. What we primarily see is individuals who have experienced stroke or a workplace injury, amputation, brain injuries, a variety of different things where it's more acute as a result of an incident or an accident that's happened.
And Heather, for people that want to take part, how can they sign up? And what is there a deadline that they need to do it before?
Well, registration is now open, and if you register before September 14th, August 14th, there's the early bird discount. So that's $50 for general admission, and you can do that online at www.hdgh.org/adventure-challenge. And after August 14th, the price increases to $65. And there's also a kids event, which is something we always wanted to bring into Heartbreaker, but because of the logistics of the event, we weren't able to. And we're excited to be at Lakeside Park. So there's going to be a kids wave earlier in the day. And then once the kids are there, they can enjoy the splash pad and the playground and the other amenities at the park.
So that was $50 and $65 per person?
Yeah, so $50 before the early bird, $65 after, and for kids it's $30.
And you were talking about teams of 4. Is that the recommended, or can you run it solo if you so choose?
You have to sign up as a team of 4. If there's an individual they can't find a team, then they'll just kind of put them together in a wave and you create a team. But some of the obstacles are designed that you'll physically need 4 people in order to complete the task.
Sounds interesting.
We should sign up separate, and then it'll just be like roll that for the poor people that get stuck with us.
Yeah, maybe you guys you guys should put in a foursome for sure.
Oh, I'd be the anchor in Pigeon Bay. Like, sorry guys, I can't do it anymore.
Is there a cap to how many participants?
There are a cap for the amount of teams for each wave. I think it's maybe 25 teams per wave. So I guess if they all do sell out, I guess the short answer is yes, but I don't know off my head. It's a lot of people, and if we do experience that in its first year, that would send me into super happy dance and an amazing.
That's a good problem.
A great problem to have.
Yeah, the Heartbreaker had a lot of corporate sponsors and corporate partners, with a lot of different exposure out in Kingsville and a lot of great companies and corporate partnerships that are possible. I'm sure you won't have any difficulty filling up a lot of those waves.
Yeah, and it's a great opportunity too for corporate wellness initiatives because it is focused on teamwork and fitness and team building. So it's a great way for workplaces to encourage their employees to get together and have some fun. And also, even if you lead up to it with some recreation and training, it's great for, healthy employees all around. So we really want to push that idea onto if you go to your employer, take the idea to them and say, hey, like I heard about this event. I think we should put in some teams if anyone's interested, or if you work in like human resources, bring it to your employer and say like, we should get behind this. Again, all the information is available on the website. Also for sponsorship opportunities, which make a great exposure for businesses and make the event a huge success.
I guess from a Kingsville point of view, we've seen a couple of events sort of leave the park over the last few years. It's really exciting to see one coming back and something different and unique in this. That's just as an aside, I guess.
Absolutely.
To draw more people and see what we really do have here.
Yeah, and it's an exciting way to utilize the space, and like you said, a very unique manner, and getting a lot of hopefully alumni that did the Heartbreaker. Again, with what you said, Heather, 10 years of running that, there's bound to be people that just love the event and want to come out and help support Hotel de Grace Healthcare.
And even if people like they want to check out what this Adventure Challenge is all about, but maybe not necessarily participate, spectators are welcome. We'd love to have a huge crowd out at the park, and then the more spectators, the more the appeal for organizations and businesses sponsor as well. And there's also opportunity for volunteers that need to help execute the event. So there's a variety of ways to get involved if maybe walking, jogging, or running and climbing over walls isn't your thing. There's other options for you for sure.
Is there a link then on the website for anyone who wants to volunteer?
Yes, all that's on the Adventure Challenge website.
And is there a minimum age requirement? Because I know a lot of high school students want to get their hours in. Is this an opportunity for them?
Yeah, it's definitely a great opportunity for high school students. There'll be a variety of different volunteer tasks required at the event. So there's something for all age groups. So I encourage anyone in high school who's looking to get their hours to go to the website, and if they're having a hard time, just reach out to the foundation office at Hotel de Grace, and we can certainly direct you in the right way.
You might have a mad scramble for a whole bunch of kids that are very delinquent. Like, we need to do volunteer hours. What?
It's the start of the school year. I don't think they'll be panicking too much.
The seniors, I was like, I only got a year left to do 40 hours. Is it 40 or is it 20?
It's 40.
Before, oh, geez.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I think it was 40 when I was in high school. So.
Oy vey. All right. What was the website again, Heather?
So it's www.hdgh.org/Adventure Challenge. And the event's also on Instagram and Facebook. It's the tag at HDGH Adventure Challenge.
Yeah, it's Hotel de Grace Healthcare. Right. So that's the HDG.
Yes, I know it's a mouthful when you
tongue twister of sorts. So again, Saturday, September 14th, Lakeside Park, Kingsville. Heather, thank you very much for coming on the show and telling everyone about the Adventure Challenge. Hopefully, the word gets out and those registrations start piling in.
Thanks so much for having me, and I'll be looking for you guys out there on September 14th.
You're not going to see me. I'm not doing it. I'll float around in the lake. I'm so gassed after one lap.
You got time to train. Just get out there in this heat.
Yeah, start training. When I drive by the park, I want to see you guys running up that hill.
Oh, yeah.
And doing mind puzzles. Like I'm going to go running and do crosswords at the same time.
You have to count the blades of grass that you tread on as you go up.
But I'm ching. All right, Heather, thanks again for joining us on the Kingsville podcast. Joining us on that Kingsville podcast, Kelley Kovacs and Erika St. Pierre with a very special topic, very specialized topic. You ladies are power lifters.
We are.
Okay, that's awesome. Because, I can't lift anything. And you guys are trying to lift as much as possible in one given shot. So tell us, what's powerlifting? And how did you get involved with it?
Well, basically, I started looking into it in 2016, 2017. I was just looking online for some kind of different exercises to do, and I saw Instagram posts of women who basically looked like me, as in not 8 feet tall and 27-inch neck. And they were lifting barbells that were 300 plus pounds, and they were lifting them like it was like a laundry basket.
Oh,
and it was interesting to see. So I was like, I really want to try that. If it's possible, I just want to try it. And then I found out that it was a sport made up of 3 lifts. So it's 3 attempts at each of 3 lifts. So you get 9 attempts altogether. And the first lift is a squat or a back squat, where you put the barbell across the back of your shoulders. You have to squat it. Most federations, you have to squat it so that your hip crease goes below the top of your knee. So to hit depth, they call it. And then you stand it back up. And then for bench press is the second lift. You unrack it, but it's not like a bodybuilding bench press, where you have to actually have it touch your chest. As soon as it's still on your chest, they'll give you the press command, and you press it, then you hold it, and they'll tell you to rack. Mm-hmm. These are referees. So you get 3 referees watching you on a platform, one in the middle and then one on either side. And so they're just watching to make sure that you technically execute the lifts properly. And then deadlift is the last one. Basically, you just go out and grip it and rip it. Oh, go out and try your best. Usually by then, that day in the meet, that point in the meet, you're pretty gassed. But you just basically walk out, pick it up. And as soon as you're locked out with your, shoulders over your hips, over your knees, kind of like standing upright, the ref will give you the down command.
And away it goes.
And that's it. And so then they total the best one out of your best lift out of all 3. So it's kind of interesting. It gets to be a bit like a math chess game when you're competing, because you can only increase in weight and you have to get on the board. So usually strategically, you'll place your opener or your first attempt at something that you know that you can hit. Because if you go too heavy and you don't get it, you have to repeat it for your second, or you'd have to go up with the assumption that you'd be able to make the jump anyways. And then if you don't get it, you only have one more attempt. So assuming that you're going to be successful at all 3, you want your opener to be something that you know you can hit fairly easily to get on the board. And then you want your jump between your first and your second to be something reasonable. You're not going to tack on another, 50% of whatever's on the bar. You want to do a reasonable jump so that you can make sure and get it. But then you also want your third one to land in a place that's, I guess you could say, mathematically strategic to be able to win. So you get that going through all 9 attempts, and usually by the third deadlift, it's a lot of fun.
Is it 3 in a row, or is it once through competition, second time through?
Yeah, usually they'll organize the lifters into flights. Typically there's about maybe 12 to 15 in one flight. So everybody basically warms up, and then your flight A will go, and everyone will do their opener. And so typically each lift takes around 2 minutes to execute. So you could figure that you basically have, maybe 20, 25 minutes before you'd get called for your second attempt. Sometimes it seems to go quicker than that. So sometimes they split it up a little bit lesser, with fewer lifters, maybe only 9 or 10. But typically you go out, you do your opener, and then they run through the rest of the roster. You go out and do your second. Same thing. And then, and they change the order of things too. I mean, that's sort of kind of a bit of a moot point, but it goes in order of weight for the attempt. So conceivably, if you were having to repeat, you could wind up going in a completely different order from your first attempts, like through all your seconds and all that. So sometimes people get mixed up because they'll see, oh, I was behind that person. And meanwhile, depending on what you put on the bar. They don't want to
keep racking and re-racking the apparatus, right? It's like, well, what's Kelley? 84 kilograms? Oh, geez.
Yeah, what do we do?
Delay in time. So you've been doing it since 2016.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is new for you, Erika, right? When did you start? Why did you start with your mom?
I started with my mom, honestly, to give me something to do. It was during the summer. I was kind of just bored and was lacking a hobby. So I knew I've always liked to play sports. Like I've grown up in soccer, basketball, volleyball, really anything that you can name in the school. And it was just something, okay, I like to work out. And let's just see where this takes us. I think I started in, 2022 or 2023? 2022, I think. Yeah, 2022. And I started during the summer just to see what was what. Mm-hmm. Definitely complained a lot during that time period because the lifts are really technical. So when you don't already know how to do it, your body doesn't have like the certain groove and the certain placement that you need to be able to execute it correctly. So there's definitely a lot of complaining that my mom got. But once I got the hang of it, we were in the gym the one day and it was my first time ever deadlifting over body weight. And I was going at it. I went after it like 5 times and I was failing it. And I was getting mad, of course, and complaining more. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? That's it. Like this thing's coming up with me. Like I refused to let it win and let gravity win basically. And I got it up. And I stood it up with like the hugest smile on my face. I was so happy and so relieved. And like, it was like everything, it was like a hinge movement. It was like everything had worked perfectly. I was so happy. And I remember my mom was like, that is the feeling that you get at competition when you get your 3rd deadlift up and it's a Hail Mary. And I think ever since then, I've just been bit by the bug of competing and wanting to win.
The complaining. Why didn't you say, I'm just going to go play soccer, Mom? What kept you going? What kept you kind of with it? Because obviously it's a testament to your determination. And it also leads into what made you stick with it. So we'll go to Erika first.
I think really, like with all the sports that I've played, I'm not like a naturally gifted athlete that's like one of these people that, just takes away and sweeps up at those athletic banquets and all that. I've always had to work hard to be even mediocre at some sports. And it was just something different that I wanted to try. And I've thought to myself that I've worked at soccer for so many years. I worked at basketball. Nothing should be any different. Yeah, you have to practice to be able to do good in competition. So in my head, I was like, I want to be able to at least say that I gave it a go and say that I didn't just flake and be like, the entire thing's too uncomfortable, because then what was the point of me doing it in the first place? If I was just going to complain and give up in the end anyways, well, I could have saved everybody 10 more hours of me complaining. Like, I need to get to a point where, okay, I did something. Maybe I didn't like it. Then at least I knew that I didn't like it.
Okay.
I think coming from a similar place as Erika, when I was young, same thing. I didn't fall backwards into any sport really naturally. And I think in my maybe late 20s, early 30s, I took up running, and I'm not built like a runner at all. Figured out that there were different techniques that you could use. It wasn't just as simple as, gym class where they just send you around the track and hope for the best, and I felt kind of gypped because once I read some techniques and, different shoes and whatever, and I actually did better than I ever had once I got to adulthood, I felt like, geez, had I known that there was actually some practice to this, I could have, maybe felt a lot better about it. And with powerlifting specifically, I think that mainly what I've tried to give to both my daughters is just that, well, maybe not powerlifting related specifically, but just that feeling of working at something and being just a little bit better than when you started. You still might not be gold medal athlete kind of thing, but there's that feeling of accomplishment of doing something that you didn't think that you could do. And that's where it is definitely specific to powerlifting. Is I remember Erika back when she started that day. First of all, Yes, the complaining. Oh my God. No,
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
It's all really uncomfortable because you've got this iron bar that's across, like it isn't comfortable, and you're not used to bending a certain way or lifting it a certain way, and it just takes some getting used to. So, there was that component of, then day 2, day 3, it got better, and eventually she'd just get under the bar and do it. And I was like, okay, see, you've figured it out. It's not terrible anymore. Then it came to the weight and, starting to throw on like just little milestones of, I'll never be able to do the quarters, like squatting the quarters. That was 95 pounds. And at the time, I think she weighed 95 pounds. So to be able to finally squat the quarters, it was like a big deal. And then it just keeps getting better. You just keep getting like, oh, now it's going to be, over body weight. Then it's going to be what we call the big girl plates, the 45 pounds. I was like, Erika, you're almost at the big girl plates. And she's like, oh, as if I'll never be able to do that. But then all of a sudden you get it and you go like, okay, now I'm in,
So through you had to find someone to help you, to teach you, because, your description, it's very technical and you could get really hurt if you do this the wrong way. So like, where do you train? Who helps you? Like, tell us about that.
So I started out basically on my own. I started out there's lots of resources online, modern times, the internet.
That's how we learned how to podcast.
Oh,
yeah. Still learning.
There we go. So I started out with that, and I also had a personal trainer here at Mavati in town, which was great, but their personal training wasn't quite sport specific. So I kind of resorted to my own devices as far as what the rules were, technicalities, and a lot of the information available on the internet. It's hard to tell between American, Canadian, whatever. I actually went by a lot of American standards at first, just not knowing that there was a difference. But different federations require different things. But the gist of it was that I was able to kind of poke my way through, do a couple competitions on my own. And then eventually I thought, once I kind of figured out that I could actually do something with this, because among the 40 plus, year old women, I'm reasonably competitive. I show up and I wound up getting a real coach, quote unquote. And that would be Ty Scratch from South Can Strength. He's originally a Wheatley hockey boy, but he does it basically via online, and I was able to get Erika in on the team too, and he's coached the Ontario team at Centrals and at Nationals, and he's a good guy to have around.
What's the difference? I'm curious what the difference is between the American and Canadian.
Pounds and kilograms. I knew that. I knew it.
Yeah. Kilograms and freedom units. Yeah. No, basically it's how they structure the federations. So like they'll count different things out. What we would say would be like a local meet. It's the equipment that you're allowed to use. So there's 2 types of powerlifting. When they call it equipped, there's many different styles, and like where you can wear, for example, like a squat suit or a bench shirt, where it's basically just super stiff fabric clothing. That's really popular in Europe. They all seem to lift equipped.
Is it fashionable?
It is, nothing about this sport is fashionable.
I think the Europeans, they only do things of fashion.
Yeah, no, definitely not this. No. And they wear knee wraps, like where it's like giant long seat belts that you wrap your knees in. Whereas with what we call raw or classic, we just wear these neoprene knee sleeves. So usually it's, as far as the differences between Canadian and American, it's just how they structure their rules depending on what level you're lifting at.
You sent us some information before the show, so we kind of had like an idea, because powerlifting isn't really one of those things that a lot of people know about. You did mention, and it was going to be a question anyway, about how a lot of people do have the conception that if you're a teenager, you're probably not supposed to be lifting heavy. And I'm sure that there are people that will be listening to this podcast. They'll be thinking the same thing.
She's still developing. You're gonna hurt her.
Sorry, I talk off mic a lot and do voices. Sorry.
It jars me every time. We've been doing this a long time.
Stop yelling.
What is happening right now? is it safe? Is it safe for you to be doing this? And were you ever, as her mom, were you ever worried about her doing it?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer to is it safe is yes, but it's safe in the same respect as participating in many sports, that yes, it's safe if you do it properly. And really that's where we landed was key, was that my coach has our coach now has lots of experience training, different people at different levels. And the real important part was going to be that she build up very slowly with correct technique. Because it's funny, like, yeah, it's, strong strength, big muscles, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of physics, and your joints are a lot like hinges, you could say, and you have to get your hinges to bend at the right time in the lift in order to be able to execute it. So I know my mom used to get concerned when I would go to, especially deadlifts, you're going to hurt your back, you're bending over, you're going to pick, like, just don't, it's okay, you don't have to. I'm like, no, I know, but the name of the game is like, put as much on as you can. But at the end, like, really, you won't break the floor. If you're starting out, like when you get into those top weights that you're having to fire on all cylinders, that's the way that you move it. It's almost like you're more apt to get injured while it's a manageable weight, because you can kind of muscle it into place if you have to. And that's when you start tweaking things, is when you bend improperly. But when you get your hinges going in the right order.
It's usually me getting out of bed in the morning, all the wrong motions and bending the wrong way.
Snaps and crackles.
Oh my gosh. It's got to be different, right? Again, you don't look like stereotypical, like what everybody envisions.
Meatheads. We're meatheads.
I did a joke earlier where I did I was like, oh, they're power lifters. And then you walked in and it's like, that's not what I would have imagined. But it's a testament to the capability that, given the right instruction, you can actually execute properly and then continue to go on and succeed. So, you've competed, you kind of talked about that, but when was the first time you actually decided, I'm going to do this in a competition with mom? Or was it just solo? Or tell us about that.
My first competition, you did compete, didn't you? Yeah. It was at Apex Barbell. It was in, Burlington. And it was probably about 2 months after I started. And I just decided that I wanted to compete because I wanted to see the atmosphere. My mom always talked about how it was basically like a rock concert, and like how it was fun, and like
it's big fun.
Oh yeah,
people get so hyped and all that. And I love sports hype. Yeah. I love sports hype. I'm one of those diehard fans with the face paint on in the crowds and yelling all the chants and all that. Like, I am definitely totally in on all of that stuff. So I just wanted to see, I mean, it was really, really nerve-wracking though, because like we had said, none of it's fashionable. And as a teenage girl, you are especially conscious of what is fashionable and what is not. And wearing a singlet and going out on a stage in front of a whole bunch of people that you don't know, that was nerve-wracking, definitely. But it was one of those things, especially too, like I was still starting off at this point, and I'm normally about the youngest. Like there's only been a couple meets where I'm not the youngest person that's competing. And
right, because it's weight categories, right?
Yeah,
it's not
and age.
And
it is age. Yeah, she's a sub junior. Basically, anytime between like 15 and 18, and then junior goes from 18 to 24, and then there's a huge open category from 24 to 39, and then you're in plus Masters 40. 1. Masters 2, Masters 3. Okay.
So yeah, one of the younger ones.
Yeah, so I was always first one out. I've always been the first one out on the platform. So first competition ever, first one out. I'm embarrassed. I'm like sitting in the back, and I remember looking at my mom going, "Oh my God, like I can't do this. Like this is ridiculous." I was sitting there, and of course, all of a sudden it's Erika Se4 platform's ready, and that's when you have to go out, and you have a minute from when they say platform's ready to actually get your start command. And I just remember looking out into the crowd, because of course you're squat, so you're facing everybody in the crowd. And I just thought, okay, you know what, just do it. Like, do it like you do in the gym. Like, people aren't watching you in the gym, so maybe people aren't watching you here, even though you're on a platform. And once I did it, I got the nerves out of my system, and I was like, well, that wasn't that bad. So I went back at it. And then I did my second attempt, and then third attempt, and it went up. And I remember my squat, I was really happy about. It was a weight that I don't think I had ever hit. And everybody was so like, they didn't look at what was on the bar.
Yeah,
like,
nobody really looks
nobody looks at
everybody just knows that feeling of if you did it, and they can tell by your reaction, all your third attempts, everybody, that whole room wants you to get it up. Even the competitors, everybody just wants that bar to go up. They're screaming like it is a rock concert.
Exactly. As you're walking up, they're saying, "Okay, Erika, come on, you got this. You know, you can lift it, girl. Come on." And all like, it's so positive. And I remember that was something that I was so nervous about, is that it would be awkward and people would be looking at me because I knew I wasn't strong and I knew I didn't look maybe the conventional powerlifter way. I'm pretty lanky, so people don't expect a little deer up there going to lift heavyweight. And like, I was so nervous about it, but at the end of the day, everybody was so supportive of happy for no matter what you did. Like, you could be lifting 2 pounds, and if you had a smile on your face, everybody else would be cheering, going ballistic in the stands for you. So after that, it really just, like, I knew that I wanted to compete because I liked the feeling of being able to get it up and being like, holy crap, I didn't think that I'd be able to ever do that. And then plus everybody else feeling that same supportive way for me, it just made it a sport that was so amazing to compete in, and just such a great environment. You think, you know, I feel like a lot more teenage girls should be in that type of environment, because I look around at my friends at school and I think, oh my God, like, you guys are so like worried about what everybody else is thinking. And I used to be so much that way, but I think powerlifting has just even helped me mentally kind of come over that and go, you know what, like, those who are my true supporters and those people who matter, they don't really like, they're not looking at that. They're just excited for me, just like how I'm excited for myself. They're not looking at what I look like while I'm lifting and all that.
Well, it's a huge accomplishment. Again, like you said, that you've exceeded, or you've lifted your body weight, right?
Oh, more than that now.
Right.
Yeah,
So, like,
she's on her way.
She's on our body weight now.
yeah, right. I was gonna say, it was like,
What are your personal bests?
So my best squat is, I'll do the pound conversion because we're so close to the border. We train in freedom units. So it's 292 for a squat, 180 pounds for bench, and my best deadlift's 336.
yeah,
That's insane.
it's more than me.
And I weigh, like, to be fair, to put it into context, I weigh about 165 pounds.
Wow,
So,
that's incredible.
well, thanks.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
It's sort of my sorry.
No,
It
okay.
is.
Well, you're still
No,
chewing on that.
I'm picturing her lifting you.
No, it's me probably and you, Steve.
No,
Like, I'm
no, it's-
250 pounds. Like,
I'm starting with you, but yeah.
so
I weigh about 125, and my max squat is 165. My max bench is 99 pounds, 0.2.
so close.
And then I have 193 pound deadlift.
wow.
Which is
It was
that
great.
was
the way that she
yeah,
got that one
that's-
was fantastic.
It was like
too.
a windmill. Like, there was definitely some wind in that gym, because I like, deadlifts is the only one where it's very technical, but the judging isn't technical. Like, the rule set is literally get it up in no downward motion. Like, you can't hitch it up your legs and like kind of have it like a ramp. Like, all you need to do, pick it up and lock out. Like, make sure that all your body is standing up. And
That's a rule across all of the lifts, by the way, is that downward motion of the bar. Like, once the bar starts traveling up, it can't go down. It can stop, it can go up crooked, but it can't dip. Yeah. And as soon as it dips, you get red lighted and it's over. So for her third deadlift in Bell River in May, because so sorry to kind of go off into the weeds there, but Erika had started lifting, started competing, and all of a sudden her numbers were there. And we wanted to do a local meet because she's got lots of family in Bell River. They do a meet annually for the CPU, which is the big federation. And we said, oh, you know, we got to do that one. It's like the only one in Essex County. So, of course, we want to do it. And the one up in Burlington at Apex was sort of just the test drive. Like, go in front of a bunch of strangers. It'll be fine. You know, you won't care. You'll get it out of your system. And then you can come back to the home federation and you'll feel confident. And then her training was going really well and her numbers were getting up there. And it was like, all of a sudden, you're going to qualify. Like, you're going to qualify for provincials because it's all based on a total and your age and weight. There's like a grid that you have to figure out in order to be able to lift at either regionals or at provincials. And they're successive. And when all of a sudden she was able to compete at provincials or at regionals, I was like, okay, so nationals, like, what are we talking here, you know? So she went into Belle River in this past May with the hope that she would qualify for nationals. Cause I mean, I've been doing it a lot longer, so I qualified a while back, but it was like, you know, for a mom, there is no better thing than sharing a platform with your daughter. Like that's just, I mean, that rock concert compounded in my mom brain.
Especially on a national stage too. Like that's ridiculous.
Like that's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing. So then when she was going to qualify, it was like, hell yeah, let's go.
But she's very humble about it too, because the reason I found out, I'd shown up to coach soccer practice that day, and I've known Erika for several years now. We started refereeing together, and I've seen her in the halls. Oh yeah, my mom and I, we qualified for nationals in powerlifting, and that was it. What?
No, I don't tell a lot of people. Actually, not a lot of people know that I do.
It's like, okay, all right, like I need your mom's number. We're gonna have you on the podcast, and we need to talk about this. So,
well, and I'm sorry, Steve.
No, I was done
Again.
No,
at least I recognized it.
This has gone on for 3.5 years. He's gonna cut me.
Sorry, Steve.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask, and I'd like both of you to respond to this if you could. What is the most ridiculous thing that someone has said to you after you've told them that you do powerlifting?
I don't know. Ridiculous. Do you mean like ridiculous as in like harmful ridiculous, or ridiculous as in just like, what are you even saying?
Like, how about both? Like, it's equally, you know, like if it's very, you know, chauvinistic or.
I would say like, I'm not going to say who because.
No.
Yeah.
Just what they said.
But there has been a gym teacher that has, when I told them that I powerlift, looked at me and said, you can't do that. You're going to hurt your back. You're going to hurt your knees. That's really bad for you. And I thought, as a gym teacher, you're telling me that? Like, that's kind of, that to me, that's ridiculous. And it's like, what are you even saying? Like, what, like that, do your research kind of thing. But I would say that the most, like, kind of funny thing that someone's ever said to me, and something that I kind of, if even spoken a little bit, is that, geez, you look like a little awkward deer. That's what my coach always says, Coach Ty. He says, you look like an awkward baby deer. How the heck are you doing that? Where I think like, yeah, I know I do, but oh well.
But it works.
Yeah, it works.
I would say for myself, usually it's when strength, I guess you could say, is confused with violence, or, you know, oh, don't mess with her. I'm like, I can lift a lot. It doesn't mean that I punch. Like, it's not.
Get over here and I'll pick you up and throw you.
Like,
that's all I can do.
It's not even that dynamic. It's like I can lift something really heavy once.
And I will put it back down.
I go and I exercise in front of people for sport.
Yeah.
Usually it's centered around that, or about the fact that, you know, you don't look like a powerlifter. Like, no, I know, you know, that's like, it's just part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, very deceiving and not being front and center. A lot of people aren't aware. You see it in the Olympics, right? Like,
no, actually,
That's
powerlifting
Olympic
is not an Olympic sport.
correct. It was getting there, but
Sorry.
but that's not the same thing. It's like, that's a different type of weight,
Different strength sport.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what we would all associate it with, because that's
True.
all we've seen. So, you know, as you've explained and as you've gone through and started competing and whatnot, you know, you can understand the finesse and the intricacy of what it is that you have to do that differs from that. And, you know, that's quite honestly, you know, that's all I've ever been able to kind of witness and whatnot. So it's very interesting to hear, you know, hey, how do you have to go about your sport, and why is it so much different than what we imagine? So
Yeah, a great festival that they have usually every year in Ohio is the Arnold's, and it's like a strength sport showcase where they've got Olympic lifting, powerlifting, strongman, all kinds of different disciplines. There's bodybuilding components to it, and that's a strength sport as well, you know, to a certain extent. I think that people just assume, oh, it's lifting weights, it's all the same, you know, that some people know about, with the bench you have to stop, right? You know, you also have to touch your chest, you have to wait, and
Keep your head down.
keep your head,
Oh my
keep
God.
your butt on the bench.
Yeah.
There's just different, you know, it's just its own thing. I think that even among the fitness community, you could say that even personal trainers in that, sometimes there's a bit of murky where they're just not quite sure about the technicalities specific to the sport. So,
So it sounds like you're prepared for nationals. So we've qualified. I gathered that. So when you qualified, what was how did you feel? Like, holy cow.
I felt amazing. I am a huge emotional person, and I thought I was going to cry. It was my second deadlift attempt, because it was one of those things. It was in Bell River this past May, and I knew that I for sure wanted to qualify. It wasn't about, let's see how much I can do in Hail Mary. It was like, no, let's get the numbers down. Like, there was no showboating at all. And then it was like, you know what? My qualifying number that I have to reach for deadlifts, I've done 1,000,000 times before. So let's put it at my second attempt, because then I know I'll get it. But worst case, if I don't, I have another try at it, right? And when I hit that, I screamed. We have a video of me. I was like, nationals, baby. I ran. I gave my mom a hug, and she was all covered in chalk too, because I was like all chalked up. Yeah. And it was one of those things where it felt like all that hard work had kind of finally paid off. Like, it was definitely like a teary moment for me.
She was chalked up. She was choked up.
Yes.
So nationals this year is in Summerside, PEI.
Yes.
Okay. Is this your first nationals that you've been to, Kelley?
No, I went in Winnipeg right before COVID. Like, I got home like a day before they closed everything down.
Oh, boy.
It was crazy. Yeah, that was my first nationals. And then, of course, with COVID, they didn't do it.
Abbreviated.
And then, I kind of skipped a couple because, to be completely frank, it's expensive, but it's expensive to go. You have to go, and then hotels, usually airline tickets and things like that. But when Erika got into it, it seemed like she might be close. It was like, okay, no, this is something we got to do.
Sure. How many participants usually at a national event?
It's unlimited. They don't cap it. So I would say in our divisions, because, female, sub-junior, and Masters 1. Masters 1's pretty popular, but the sub-junior category is usually pretty small. But over the entire competition, I think they usually start the lifting on the Monday or the Tuesday, and it wraps up on the Saturday, I believe. Like, it's a lot. Just there's a lot of men. There's way more women now than there ever used to be. But typically they ramp it up.
Men's open. Oh my God. There's probably like at least 2 days
and
of that.
Juniors too. Like 24-year-old. There's all kinds of 24-year-old kids that
I'll show you what I can pick up.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's a huge event, but it's great though, because it's all on an even playing field. Like, I remember in my first competition, once I had started training, and of course you're looking online, you see the quote unquote famous people. And when I got to the platform, who I felt was a famous lifter was the back spotter. And he said my name. Like, he was like, come on, Kelley, let's get this up. And I was just like starstruck. Like, okay, did he just look at the big screen to get my name, or did he know? And he said hi to me at every competition since. And I was just like I say, starstruck, going like, holy cow, these people are good people. They are paying attention. They just want everybody to do well.
So nationals is obviously a huge accomplishment. What's the pinnacle? Like, for a lot of sports, it is Olympics. What's the pinnacle for powerlifting?
So the CPU is the big federation in Canada. That's like the gold standard, you could say, and it feeds up to the IPF. The IPF is...
I'm guessing that's International Powerlifting Federation.
And they would be the federation that would be Olympic level if powerlifting were to ever become an Olympic sport, which it will not, probably because of just how many federations and rules, and there's, equipped, non-equipped, multiply, single ply, like there's just too many different qualifications.
Toilet paper reference?
You would think. And because we would lift raw, so as far as we're concerned, I could do this. So the IPF Worlds would be big. That would be that is totally a bucket list thing for me, is if I ever got to lift on a platform like somewhere in Russia or something, I'm like there.
So is that like if you win like a national event in Canada, then you get invited, or is there a qualifier for that as well?
They'll have a national team pick, and then there are specific events that they will say you have an opportunity to apply to be on the international team for Canada, which that would just be...
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Top of the list. So, when are we going to Summerside?
September.
Yep.
September.
Second week of first year of college.
Oh, geez.
Yep, I'm doing the first week of college and then saying bye for a week.
Forget it. I'll handle you when I get back.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. Is this going to impact your... Because I wasn't sure if you were going to school or...
Yeah, I'm going to University of Guelph Ridgetown campus for agriculture, and then I'll be doing like 2 years there and then 2 years at Guelph campus, and then I'll be getting my honors degree in agriculture. And I mean, honestly, that was also a factor when we learned when nationals was. It was definitely something that held me back a little bit, because I thought, do I really want to be taking off like college? That's a thing. And the jump between high school, college, high school, university, whatever. Everybody that I know has said, yep, that's a big jump. And to be taken off the second week, I was like, oh, that. It wasn't even taken off a day. It's taken off almost the entire week.
The second week, you're fine.
It was definitely something that I thought to consider. And I know my sister, oh my God, if you tried to get that with my sister, you'd have to tear her away from that school. She's very school oriented. But I just thought, you know what? This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Missing a week of school is not a once in a lifetime opportunity. No. I don't
she had to get it while she was still a sub-junior, because after 18, you're a junior, and that puts you in a much larger pool, and just the qualifying totals are that much higher. And not to say that she couldn't do it, but as a newer lifter, it just was heck, if you can go, let's go while you can go, you know?
Take the advantages you have when you have them, right?
Yeah, and then go ahead and retire while you're in university. Come back to it when you're 40. I was 38 when I started. So.
Something like that.
Yeah, you can come back to it.
I used to do this when I was a teenager. Yeah,
good story for the grandkids, right? That's
exactly.
I was when I'm dead, people are going to go through all my boxes and be like, what did she do? What is this stuff?
Well, if you ever need things lifted up, I know a couple of ladies that can do it.
Movers.
Exactly. I work for a moving company. I actually did something stupid 9.5, I think, hours today at a moving company. I got back home at 6:30 today, and I left at 7:30 in the morning to go to work, and I've been working for the moving company all day today.
Her interview was classic. They were like, okay, so why are you applying for this job? She's like, oh, well, I'm a power lifter, so it's okay, I can do this. They're
you? Oh.
Right, okay. I hold my own though. I hold my own.
Hey, again,
no doubt.
We believe you.
We're not gonna mess.
Again, the rapper doesn't exactly kind of tell you what it is, its capability, but it's the mental fortitude and the physical capability and proper training to get you to be able to combine everything, and then the willpower and the strength. So
that's a good point about the mental fortitude too, that I give Erika heaps and heaps of credit, because I know kids 15, 16, 17-year-olds can't get their face out of their phone, and to be able to get to the gym and do hard stuff. This isn't just go for a walk on the treadmill. This is get to the gym, do hard stuff. Your diet has to be pretty dialed in to be able to support your workouts. The discipline for 4 days a week of training, hour and a half or whatever. I can't think of really a more productive way for a kid to get that kind of discipline. And I think Erika's a hard worker to begin with, and so's my other daughter, but I just feel there's so much good that can come from that kind of thing, of just working at it and loving it and getting rewarded for it. I'm so glad that she qualified for all this stuff, because it just makes it worth it.
Yeah, definitely getting the rewards from the efforts and the determination and the push, and if you're setting your mind to something, you're actually executing, and it feels good. You get that kind of rush. So, well, ladies, thanks for coming on the podcast tonight. Good luck in September.
Thank you.
If we see you around town or whatever, I'll just ask, where are we at with the personal best? You can't say anything, right? You don't want to tip off the competition. If they find out, wait a minute.
No, it's kind of funny. They issue a list of lifters usually about a month out, and you can kind of scope out who your competition is. And we're both in the world database of powerlifters, so you can just totally creep your competition to figure out, okay, where do I stand with this?
The Instagram creeping is real.
The Instagram creeping. Yeah.
Janet did 189. I need 194 to solidly
accurate.
See,
that is what happens in the warm-up room. It's oh, damn it.
Oh, if I only just did one more.
Well, ladies, again,
thank you
for coming on the show. I think it's been great. We're definitely enlightened, and congratulations and best of luck in September. And we hope to hear about some successes, and and congratulations for going off to school. Kev said, and you're not going to miss anything second
Thank
week.
you.
I don't even know if they know that, where the rooms are. And it's Ridgetown. It's a small school. Like,
Second week is when you sober up.
I was going to say, they're still recovering.
Yeah, you're fine.
So thanks again.
Thank you for having us.
So yeah, things kind of getting rolling with the season.
It's summer.
Yeah, it is summer. Like everybody's out and about and
I know
excited.
some are here and some are there.
Yeah.
But they're out and about. Anyway.
We Gary and I attended the Counter In event at Pewley Island Winery. We had Kara and the ladies in a couple episodes ago to discuss that event. Went off incredibly well. Lots of funds raised for that initiative. Again, it's hashtag Counter In YQG, and Kara Murray and her team. Great opportunity to kind of meet all the locals and see how to support their initiatives and whatnot. So yeah, great opportunity to participate in that. And a little bit more town focused. We had our first block party.
Ooh.
Yeah, you got it first.
Which block was it on?
It was the main street in Cottam. They shut that down.
Oh, they shut down the main street to have a block party.
Did, and they shut it down for a long time.
Was surprised it wasn't called Open Streets.
There was no block.
What was the difference between the block party and Open Streets in Cottam?
So they shut down County Road 34.
Yeah, from the Esso gas station to just past the
Victoria.
Well, yeah, I don't know the street name, but it was the Gosfield, telecom
Yep, still
building,
is,
right?
yeah.
So there, that was the perimeter.
Is it?
Sounds familiar. Is that the same section they shut down for Open Streets?
That is correct.
Oh,
No block involved. No blocks.
there's no
They blocked the road.
They blocked the road.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
but Fresh Breath. They had the band Fresh Breath. There's a band.
Oh, those guys are mint. What?
They are great.
Yeah.
You got me.
Sorry.
You're gonna work in like a double mint pun next. Anyway,
Only if there was an opening act.
yeah, right.
I wasn't expecting an herb joke.
Sage advice, Kevin. You never. It was
everyone's
time.
tuning off.
It was time.
I'll tell you what, if you can work a marjoram pun, then you win.
Coriander. So they played, and there was a lot of vendors, local food vendors. There was local wares, lots of.
Sounds like a great time.
Wow.
Nice. Well, actually, I was going to say Corey and her friend were there. So I can work it in.
Pretzel Central, Top Dog Brewery, Cottam Candy were there, among others. It was great. Cottam comes out, and they showed up and supported that event because that's the only thing that's going to happen really in town until the fall for the most part, right? Like this is their one and done because all the other block parties that are on the schedule are in Kingsville proper. So it was a good opportunity to see, hey, is the local community supporting this event? And going forward, should we host more? How should we change it? But they shut down a major artery, and nobody got their nose out of joint. So
Good.
yeah, no, it was great. It was a great opportunity to kind of, like I said, start the summer off. So Kingsville's first one proper is in mid-July, and that's on Walnut. Right behind the post office. Chestnut. Thank you. Nut Street. It's a Nut Street.
Yeah,
it's
nuts.
Chestnut. Walnut's the other side.
Yeah.
But yeah, that parking lot, the street itself, that's where the focus is going to be. Also because the town.
Oh, right by Miller's Ice Cream.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, yeah.
The town licensed the street though, so they had barriers, and you could walk freely around that area with an open cocktail. So I think that was part of probably why the move off of Main Street in Kingsville proper. We got events happening almost every weekend, vacations. Here we go.
Ready to rock.
Ready to rock.
See you in September.
See you. No, we'll do a couple episodes through the summer.
Are we going to do more?
Yeah.
Really? All right, fine.
Yeah. Well, a couple. We'll pepper.
It's beautiful outside.
I know.
We'll do one outside.
Yeah, we
Do
should.
it from a patio.
We will. Thanks for sticking with us all the way through here. You know, great to have Kelley and Erika in telling us all about powerlifting. That was fantastic. And again, Heather Parse talking about the Adventure Challenge earlier. Thanks for listening to that Kingsville podcast. Please like and subscribe. I say it every episode, and yet, you know, we're still here. So
Try not to know.
try not to melt. We'll see you next time.